neighborhood. That's the neighborhood that she grew up in. Her uncle, I believe, is Mr. Mitch Henderson, who did so much work in East Baltimore. Just so much work. And, you know, hopefully he's doing all right, but we haven't heard from Mr. Mitch. But Christina Flowers is the daddy of homeless people in Baltimore. When I first met up with this young lady, I was saying, "Oh, you become the big daddy of homeless people," and she certainly has done that. I admire the fact that if I turn on my computer, go to Facebook 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning, and it'll be snowing, and here's Christina Flowers out with a flashlight looking for homeless people. She's, and I couldn't believe it. I'm watching a woman in real time, actually out at 5 and 6 o'clock in the morning in snow, looking for the homeless people. I've seen so many of your videos where I see you look like you're around the railroad tracks, look like you're in the wilderness, and you're saying, "Hey, it's Miss Flowers, coming, anybody need any help?" I think it's so precious that this is a product of East Baltimore. Once I was in a meeting with Dr. Phil Leaf over at Johns Hopkins, and he asked me something. He said, "Nia, where are the young people that grew up in East Baltimore? In West Baltimore, those young people are coming back to serve their communities, but I don't see that in East Baltimore." The answer that I would give to Phil Leaf now is that East Baltimore young people are all over their service in the city, because Christine is living witness to the fact that East Baltimore young people who grew up here are still giving back to community. Some of them are dealing with citywide issues. So we thank you, Christine, for being here. You have certainly earned your cotton. Thank you very much.
Our next honoree is Glenda Curtis, Madam Glenda Curtis.
I keep doing this. This lady's name is Glenda Curtis. I keep wanting to call her Christine Curtis. But this is a young lady who phoned me maybe 30 days ago, and she was having some issues with a building she was seeking. A group of people were interested in the building, the old Gompters Schoolhouse building on North Avenue, North and Broadway. Well, she was with a coalition of people, and they wanted to get that space so that black people could finally own something large that they could begin to give back into the community. I think at that time she said she got my phone number from maybe a niece, maybe. So she phoned back a couple of times and in talking, and something she said, though, caused me to realize that I might know her mother. And sure enough, Christine Curtis is her mother. And so Christine Curtis went to elementary school with me. She not only went to elementary school with me, she was actually a buddy of ours. And when you look at the stature of one kid, you knew nobody was going to pick on her because everyone just loved her because she was too tiny, it seemed, to be in the grade she was in. Her name is Christine Curtis, and evidently she birthed a young lady that is now giving back to East Baltimore. Christine has a program. Glenda has a program that she put together to recognizing our mom, and it's called Chris Cares Incorporated.
Chris Inc.
Chris Inc. And basically, she's taken a holistic approach to bringing services to people in our city. She works presently for the Mayor's Office of Equity and Civil Rights. Yes, that's taken on a lot, especially during a time when the world is talking about social justice. We need to be careful that as most things in America become a buzzword, social justice, let's not let that become a buzzword and new accessory that people who are orators would like to hypnotize us with. Okay? So let's be careful about the word social justice. But Glenda, I am really, really honored that you came into my life at a time when we were just getting ready to earn women. So she's one of the last ones to come in the door. And so we certainly appreciate you coming out, and our hope is that you will stay with this group. Absolutely. And here's your cotton, because you certainly earned it. She also created her first Juneteenth celebration last weekend.
Yes.
Yeah, and the irony for me was that when, I'm moving a little slower these days, when I made the connection that she was giving her first Juneteenth on Gorsuch Avenue, brought to my attention that Morning Sunday lived on Gorsuch Avenue. Lynn Pender isn't here today, but Lynn Pender sent me a copy of a Sun Paper article 20 years ago that was talking about Morning Sunday. Morning Sunday in 20 years, the article is 20 years old that Lynn Pender sent me. But the article was talking about Morning Sunday being an advocate for Juneteenth. Morning Sunday at that time had done 12 years of Juneteenth celebrations. So never think that Juneteenth just started when Biden made it happen. Morning Sunday was a pioneer with that, and we certainly want to honor the fact that here you have 20 years later, this lady is doing a Juneteenth on the street that Morning lived on, which was Gorsuch Avenue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our next honoree is Catherine Benton.
Now this here is an interesting one for me to have to speak about today. Where do I begin? How do you spend 20 years in service to Baltimore City, working in the legal department, you retire from that job, then you go over to work for HABC, which is a state agency, and you put in 15 more years. So that gives you a total of what? 35 years working for the government in some capacity. But she hasn't stopped working. From 12 o'clock at night until 7 in the morning, this young lady delivers the Sun Paper.
Wow.
So from 12 o'clock at night to 7 in the morning, let that sink in, she is delivering the Sun Paper. Because I'm an insomniac, sometimes I call her 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, and I think, who's up? Catherine's up, but she's delivering papers. So I'll call her. So I'm speaking to her one night at 12 in the morning, because it's about 3 o'clock, and I'm saying, hey, Catherine, is that a baby in here? She said, yeah, it's my grandchild. I got my grandchild riding with me. I said, how do you have your grandbaby with you and you're delivering papers 3 o'clock in the morning? She said, Nia, all my grandchildren helped me deliver papers when they were babies. So she babysits, and she's delivering newspapers, and then I'm asking her one night, it just dawned on me, how can you talk on the phone and you're delivering papers? She said, Nia, because I'm like the kids do. I have my headphones on, I'm throwing the papers. I got it going on. You must. You really must. Because sometimes I'm on the phone with her an hour, 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And then at 8 o'clock in the morning, she's right downtown, sitting at a table at a meeting. Incredible. And if you think she hasn't earned her patent, yes, she has. Another interesting thing about Catherine Benton Jones is she's following in her mother's footsteps. Her mother was Martha Benton. I don't think I'm going to tell this story. Okay. So let's just say this, that Martha Benton was a pioneer. She served in East Baltimore in the public housing unit. She was known nationally for her work with public housing people. She was just an incredible hero. She was the only person I'd ever heard of lying in a state in Dunbar High School. That's how big Martha Benton was in this city. I mean, Clarence D. Burns didn't lie in the state at Dunbar High School, but Martha Benton did. Amazing situation. Well, I'm speaking to Catherine one day, and I said, well, Catherine, if you retired from the city and you retired from the state, why on earth would you be working like that? Like from, that kind of, that's like hard work. And then the phone went dead, and she said, hey, Ms. Redmond, I'm about to lose you. I'm going up in the mountains now. I said, you're up in the mountains? Where's that? Carroll County. So the phone will go dead, and then we'll reconnect. And it's real stuff. And she works, and she gives money. She uses the money to pay for community programs. She does not want to write proposals because she doesn't want to be beholden to the philanthropic community. So she earns her own money to pay stipends to children and adults in her community to help deal with community improvement issues. I think you deserve 2 stars of violence. I love my people, but I don't think I love them that much. If I had retired from 2 jobs, and I'm already a volunteer in my community, but I doubt if I'm going to work from 12 to 7 in the morning and start a new job.
Jesus.